The bracelet sat on white linen between us, catching candlelight like it was trying to apologize for being cheap. I'd picked it out myself, simple gold, nothing fancy, but honest. 32 years ought to count for something. Diane opened the box, paused, then laughed, sharp enough to cut glass. "You'll never be good enough for me," her voice carried. The couple at the next table looked away fast. Marge and Ellen, Diane's book club friends, froze with forks halfway to their mouths. The piano player in the bar area missed a note. I smiled. Don't know why. Factory foreman habit, maybe. When someone's having a tantrum, you stay calm. Smile. Let it pass. "Excuse me," I said. "Need to wash up." The bathroom was 20 steps through the Blackstone Inn's dining room. Felt like 20 miles. I gripped the sink, looked at myself in the mirror. The overhead light was too bright, too honest. 32 years, I whispered. When did I stop being enough? The cold water helped. Not much, but some. I splashed my face, adjusted my tie, pulled it loose, then tightened it again. Nervous hands. The mirror showed a man I barely recognized. 65 years old, retired 3 years now. Thought I'd earned some peace. Some respect, at least. I practiced smiling, tried 3 different versions. None of them looked right. The bathroom door swung open. Guy in his 40s, suit and tie, stopped when he saw my face. "Sorry," he muttered, backed out fast. Yeah, that's what I thought. I took a breath, squared my shoulders, walked back out. The table was empty except for Diane. Her friends had scattered like birds before a storm. "Early morning tomorrow," one had said. "Yoga at 6, said another. They'd left cash on the table, more than their share of the bill. Diane was texting. Didn't look up when I sat down. "Ready to go?" I asked. She kept typing. Her nails clicked against the phone screen. New manicure, I noticed. French tips. Expensive. "Diane?" "I'll get my own ride." She stood, grabbed her purse. New purse, too. Coach, maybe. I didn't remember buying it. "It's February. Roads are icy." "I'll manage." She walked past me. Perfume hit me. Something floral I didn't recognize. Not the white diamonds she'd worn for 20 years. I sat there alone. 2 dinner plates, barely touched. $50 steaks gone cold. The bracelet still in its box, lid open like a mouth. The waiter approached, young kid with a careful face. "Everything okay, sir?" I pulled out my wallet, left 3 20s. "Keep the change." She'd agreed to let me drive her home. Don't know why. Maybe she didn't want to waste money on an Uber when she just humiliated me for free. My '08 Ford pickup felt colder than usual. Heater took forever to kick in. Diane climbed in, phone already glowing in her hand. I tried once. "Diane, what's going on?" "Not now, Frank." The country roads were dark. Streetlights every quarter mile, patches of snow in the ditches reflecting moonlight. I'd driven this route 1,000 times. Home to town to home. Same curves, same stops. Her phone kept buzzing. She'd smile at the screen, type fast, wait, buzz, smile, type. "Who you texting?" "A friend." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "It's 11 o'clock. Some people have friends who care about them, Frank." That sat between us like a third passenger the rest of the way home. Our house sat on Pine Street. 3-bedroom ranch built in '76, bought in '95. I'd worked double shifts at the factory to make the down payment. Overtime every chance I got. Paid it off last year. 30 years of mortgage payments done. Diane was out of the truck before I'd even shut off the engine. She had her keys, her phone, her purse. Didn't look back. I sat in the driveway, engine ticking as it cooled. The house was dark except for our bedroom window. Light on upstairs. Vernon's porch light was on next door. His shadow moved past the window. Still up at 11:30, which wasn't like him. Widower for 2 years now, since Beth passed. Kept to himself mostly. Good neighbor. Quiet. I finally went inside. The living room was dark. I hung up my coat, same spot on the rack I'd used for 30 years. Noticed the mail on the counter. Credit card offers. 3 of them, all in my name. I didn't remember applying. Walked through the house. Everything looked different somehow. New perfume bottles in the bathroom, expensive ones, Chanel, Dior. The yoga mat in the hall closet had dust on it. Her closet was fuller than I remembered. Dresses I'd never seen, shoes still in boxes. Upstairs, I heard her voice. Animated, laughing. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, coat still on, listening to my wife laugh with someone who wasn't me. Vernon's light was still on. I could see it through the kitchen window. He was at his own window now, looking toward my house. When he saw me, he raised his hand. Tentative wave. I waved back. The clock on the microwave said 11:47. I took off my coat, hung it up, went upstairs. Diane was in bed, facing the wall. Asleep already, or pretending to be. Her phone was on the nightstand, face down. I lay down on my side, stared at the ceiling. Water stain from last winter's ice dam looked like a map of something. Some country I'd never been to. Her phone buzzed, lit up. I could see the message preview from where I lay. Can't wait for tomorrow. Love you. Not from my number. I closed my eyes. Pretended I hadn't seen it. Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'd start looking for answers. The smell of coffee woke me. That wasn't right. Diane hadn't made coffee first thing in years. Said mornings were her me time, which meant I made the pot while she slept in. I came downstairs in my undershirt and work pants. She was at the stove, humming, actually humming. Eggs in the pan, toast in the toaster, coffee steaming on the counter. Morning, hun, eggs? I stood in the doorway. Felt like I'd walked into the wrong house. Uh, sure. She slid 2 eggs onto a plate. Over easy the way I like them. Handed it to me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. About last night, I started. I'm sorry. She cut me off, turned back to the stove. I've been stressed. Work stuff. You retired 2 years ago. Book club then, whatever. She cracked another egg, harder than necessary. Point is, I shouldn't have said what I said. I sat at the table. The eggs looked perfect, tasted like cardboard. Maybe we should talk to someone, I said. Counselor? Pastor Jim even. She laughed, different from last night's laugh, but still sharp. And waste more money we don't have? I set down my fork. What do you mean? We're comfortable. House is paid off. Both got pensions. Just drop it, Frank. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She grabbed it fast, read the screen, smiled. The eggs on the stove started smoking. Diane, I know. She jabbed at them with a spatula. The smoke detector started beeping. She swore, waved a dish towel at it, kept checking her phone. I got up, turned off the burner, opened the back door to air out the kitchen. February cold rushed in. I've got yoga, she announced. Grabbed a gym bag from the hall closet. Designer bag, leather handles, nothing like the ratty duffel she used to use. See you later. I thought yoga was Thursdays. They added Saturdays. Already halfway to the door. Diane? The door closed, engine started. She was gone. I stood in the kitchen, smoke detector still beeping, burnt eggs on the stove, her coffee cup on the counter, half full, lipstick on the rim. The yoga mat was still in the hall closet. I could see it from where I stood. Dust on the rolled-up edge. I spent the morning in the garage, oil change on the truck, something to keep my hands busy. The space heater clicked and hummed. Radio played old country, George Jones, Merle Haggard, the good stuff. Around 10, I heard footsteps. Brought coffee. Vernon stood in the doorway, 2 mugs in hand. Figured you might need it. I slid out from under the truck. Took the mug. Black, no sugar. He remembered. Thanks. We stood there. Vernon's a big guy, 6'2", worked for the Postal Service 38 years before his back gave out. Hands like meat hooks, but gentle. Beth used to say he could palm a basketball or hold a baby bird with the same careful touch. Cold one, he said. Yep. Roads'll be slick tonight. Probably. He sipped his coffee. I sipped mine. The radio played Conway Twitty. Frank, he said finally, I don't want to overstep. But I've seen a car at your place, couple times last week. BMW Silver. Mornings when you're at church men's group. My hand tightened on the mug. What time? 8:39. Stays an hour or so. He looked uncomfortable. Could be nothing. Friend of Diane's, maybe. Maybe. Just thought you should know. He set down his mug. If you need anything, I appreciate it, Vern. He nodded, picked up his mug, walked back across the yard to his house. I stood in the garage. Engine oil dripped into the pan underneath the truck. One drop, two drops, three. A BMW. Silver. Mornings when I was at church, I wiped my hands on a rag, looked at Diane's car parked in the driveway. She'd taken the BMW owner's car to yoga. The rag smelled like oil and gasoline and 30 years of working on engines in this garage. I walked over to her car, felt like a violation, but I needed to know. The passenger door was unlocked, glove box opened easy, papers stuffed in there like someone had been hiding them. Bank statements, hotel receipts, more papers folded in half. I pulled them out, hands shaking. The first statement showed our address, our names, Frank and Diane Holloway. Joint account I didn't recognize. Second statement, mortgage refinancing. Our house. My signature at the bottom, except I didn't remember signing it. Date said November 15th, 3 months ago. Third statement, $40,000 withdrawal. December 3rd. Fourth, $35,000. January 8th. Fifth, $45,000. February 1st. The papers shook in my hands, or maybe that was me shaking. Hotel receipts. Sheraton downtown, Hampton Inn on Route 9, Holiday Inn Express. All in the last 6 months. All charged to a card I didn't recognize. I took the papers inside, spread them on the kitchen table, pulled out my reading glasses. There were more. 8 months of statements. Withdrawals adding up to, I did the math twice, $180,000. Gone. Just gone. The signatures looked like mine. Same loops, same slant. But something felt wrong, too smooth, too perfect. I went upstairs. Our bedroom. Diane's side still unmade from where she'd gotten dressed in a hurry. Her dresser covered in makeup, jewelry, more perfume bottles. The safe was in the closet, behind my old work boots, under a pile of extra blankets. Combination was our anniversary. 8 of 1493. I opened it. Passports, house deed, insurance papers, marriage certificate. We'd gotten married at First Presbyterian. Pastor Jim's predecessor officiated. Diane wore white. I wore a rented tux that was too big in the shoulders. The signature stamps were gone. Those stamps, walnut handles, my name carved into rubber. My father-in-law had given them to me when I made foreman. You're somebody now, he'd said. Somebody important enough to have a stamp. I'd kept them in this safe for 30 years. Gone. I sat on the closet floor, surrounded by Diane's shoes, my old boots, the smell of mothballs and cedar. She'd asked me about those stamps. When was it? December. Frank, where do you keep those stamps? Need them for Christmas cards. I'd told her, showed her the safe. Even left it open while I went to answer the phone. Never saw any Christmas cards. The garage door rumbled open around 2 o'clock. I was in the basement by then. Had moved all the papers down to my workshop, spread them on the workbench under the shop light. I'd been photographing them, one by one. My phone wasn't fancy, but it took decent pictures, clear enough to read the numbers, the dates, the signatures that looked like mine but weren't. I heard her footsteps upstairs. Frank, you home? Down here. I shoved the papers in my toolbox, covered it with a shop rag. She appeared at the top of the basement stairs, hair perfect, makeup fresh, wearing yoga pants and a jacket, but she didn't look like she'd worked out. No sweat, no flush, just perfume, men's cologne mixing with her usual scent. What are you doing down there? Sump pump's acting up. I wiped my hands on the rag even though they were clean. Making noise. Well, come up. We need to talk. My heart stopped. Does she know I know? I climbed the stairs. She was at the kitchen table. Papers spread out in front of her. Divorce papers. I'm filing, she said. I want you to know I'm being fair. Fair. The word sat in the air like a bad smell. Fair? I walked closer. Saw the lawyer's name on the letterhead. Deborah Chen, Family Law. Like refinancing our house without telling me is fair? Her face went hard. Not surprised. She wasn't surprised, I knew. Just annoyed. Like I'd discovered a surprise party too early and ruined it. You found that? Not a question. You forged my signature. That's fraud, Diane. She laughed. Actually laughed. Prove it. And why would I? It's community property. Half of everything is mine anyway. $180,000. Brad and I need that money. Brad. The name dropped between us like a stone in still water. Who's Brad? Bradford Kemper. My partner. She said it like it was obvious, like I should have known. He actually listens to me, Frank. Makes me feel alive, like I matter. How long? She shrugged, checked her phone. Does it matter? How long? 8 months. Not that you noticed. You stopped noticing me years ago. I pulled out a chair, sat down, felt like someone had kicked my legs out from under me. I gave you 32 years, and I'm taking what I'm owed. She stood up, grabbed her purse, designer purse I'd never seen before, bought with money she'd stolen from our house. Lawyer up if you want. I'll win. I always do. Diane, you think I'm spending my last good years with a man who smells like WD-40? Her voice was cold, colder than I'd ever heard it. Brad is successful. Attractive, ambitious, everything you're not. I worked double shifts. To buy this? She gestured around the kitchen. This tiny house in this nobody town? Congratulations, Frank. You achieved mediocrity. She walked to the door, stopped, turned back. Sign the papers. Make it easy. Or I'll make sure everyone in this town knows what a cheap, boring, controlling man you really are. The door slammed. Her car started. Tires squealed backing out of the driveway. I sat at the kitchen table. Clock ticking on the microwave. Refrigerator humming. Water dripping in the sink. The divorce papers sat in front of me. Deborah Chen, attorney at law. Dissolution of marriage. 32 years. Reduced to 12 pages of legal terms. I picked up the papers. My hands were shaking. That's when it hit me. I'd lost before the fight even started. I didn't move from that table for an hour, maybe longer. The light through the kitchen window shifted. Shadows grew longer. The clock kept ticking, but time felt stuck. Bradford Kemper. The name rolled around in my head like a marble in an empty can. Successful, attractive, ambitious, everything you're not. I got up, legs stiff, went to the cabinet above the fridge where we kept the phone book. Yellow pages, 5 years old, probably outdated, but it was a start. No Bradford Kemper listed, no B. Kemper either. I tried the computer in the den, old Dell that took 3 minutes to boot up, typed the name into Google. LinkedIn profile popped up first. Professional photo, guy in his late 30s, dark hair slicked back, too much teeth in his smile. Financial wellness consultant at Kemper Advisory Solutions. Financial wellness. Right. I scrolled down. Helping clients maximize their assets and plan for retirement. Company website linked. Testimonials that all sounded the same. Generic stock photos of happy couples shaking his hand. I kept scrolling. Found a review site buried on page 3, 2 stars out of 5. Aggressive refinancing tactics. Pushed me into loans I didn't need. Avoid at all costs. The reviews were old, 2, 3 years back. Nothing recent. I sat back in the chair. The computer hummed. Outside, a car drove past. Kids shouting somewhere down the block. Financial wellness consultant. That's what he called himself while he helped my wife steal $180,000 from our house. Sunday morning came. Diane didn't come home Saturday night. Didn't call. Didn't text. I made coffee. Burned the first pot. Forgot to put the filter in. Started over. Sat at the kitchen table with the sports section I couldn't read. Church started at 10. Men's group met at 8:30 in the fellowship hall. I hadn't missed a Sunday in 5 years. I didn't go. Vernon's truck backed out of his driveway at 8:15. He saw my kitchen light on, paused, looked toward my window, drove on. I spent the morning in the basement, brought the bank statements back out, laid them across the workbench in chronological order, started making a timeline. First withdrawal, June 12th, $25,000. Diane told me she was at a book club retreat that weekend. 2nd, July 8th, $30,000. Yoga workshop in Columbus. 3rd, August 3rd, $28,000. Visiting college roommate in Cleveland. I kept going. Matched every withdrawal to a day she'd been gone. Every signature to a time I'd been somewhere else. Church, men's group, hardware store, fishing with Vernon. She'd been careful, methodical. This wasn't impulse. This was planning. The shop light buzzed overhead. January's draft whistled through the basement window frame. My coffee went cold. By noon, I had it all photographed, every statement, every signature, every receipt, stored in a folder on my phone labeled Taxes 2024, just in case she looked. I heard the garage door. My heart kicked. I shoved everything in the toolbox, covered it with the shop rag and a couple wrenches, wiped my hands even though they were clean. Frank? Her voice from upstairs. You down there? Yeah. Sump pump's still acting up. She appeared at the top of the stairs, still wearing yesterday's clothes, hair different, messier, makeup smudged. Well, come up. We need to talk. Deja vu hit me hard. Same words as yesterday, but her face was different, harder. I climbed the stairs. She was already in the kitchen, pouring coffee from the pot I'd made hours ago. Microwaved it. Didn't offer me any. I'm filing tomorrow, she said. Papers go to my lawyer first thing. We already talked about this. No, Frank, I talked. You sat there. She leaned against the counter. I want you out by the end of the month. Out? I stood there, coat still on from coming upstairs. This is my house. Our house. Community property, remember? She smiled. Cold smile. And since I'm the one filing, I get to stay during the proceedings. You get to find somewhere else. I paid for this house. We paid. Together. That's what marriage means. She set down the coffee mug. Pack your stuff. The lawyer said I'm entitled to sole occupancy during litigation if I feel unsafe. Unsafe? Diane, I've never… Haven't you? She picked up her phone, started typing. I could tell people things, Frank, about your temper, how controlling you are, how you monitor my spending. I felt cold, colder than the basement. That's a lie. Is it? She looked up from her phone. Who's going to believe the quiet guy who never talks to anyone? Or me, with my book club and my friends and my whole life here? She walked past me, stopped at the doorway. End of the month, Frank. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Up the stairs, bedroom door closed, locked. I stood in the kitchen. The coffee pot was empty. The sink dripped. The refrigerator hummed its same old song. I looked around. The house I'd worked 30 years to pay off. The kitchen where I'd made breakfast for my daughter before school every morning. The table where we'd eaten Sunday dinners after church. All of it about to be gone. I couldn't stay inside. The walls felt too close. I grabbed my coat, real coat this time, Carhartt work jacket, and went to the garage. The truck needed new brake pads. I had them. Bought them 2 weeks ago. Might as well do something useful while my life fell apart. I jacked up the front end, pulled the tire. The old pads were worn down to nothing. Another month and they'd have been metal on metal. Dangerous. The work felt good. Hands busy. Mind busy. Brake caliper came off easy. Old pads out. New ones in. The smell of brake dust and cold metal. The side door opened. Saw your light on. Vernon stood there, 2 beers in hand. Thought you might could use one. I slid out from under the truck. Took the beer, twisted off the cap. Thanks. We drank in silence. The space heater ticked. The radio played low, some talk show I wasn't listening to. She came back this morning, I said finally. Saw her car. Wants me out by end of month. Vernon took a long pull from his beer. That legal? She says it is. What are you gonna do? I looked at the truck. Half-done brake job. Tools spread across the workbench. 30 years of tools, collected one at a time. Each one bought after a good paycheck. Each one a small piece of building something. I don't know, Vern. I really don't know. He set his beer down, pulled something from his coat pocket, manila folder, bent at the corners. I've been wrestling with this, he said. Beth would have told you right away. But I'm not Beth. He handed me the folder. Inside, photographs, printed on regular paper, but clear enough. Diane and a man. Younger guy, dark hair, outside a hotel, getting into a silver BMW. Kissing in a restaurant parking lot. Timestamps on each photo. Dates going back months. How long you been watching? My voice came out rough. Couple months. Started when I saw that BMW the third time. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Frank, there's something else you should know. What? That's my nephew, Brad, my sister's boy. The folder felt heavy. Or maybe that was my hands. Your nephew. Yeah. Vernon's voice was quiet. Ashamed. I'm sorry, Frank. I should have told you sooner. Should have done something. But he's family, and I kept thinking maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. How long have you known it was him? Since the beginning. Since the first time I saw that car. He picked up his beer, set it down without drinking. I'm ashamed, not just of Brad, of myself. I looked through the photos again, Diane smiling, Brad's hand on her waist, her looking up at him the way she used to look at me. When did that stop? When did I become invisible? Why tell me now? I asked. Because Beth would have told you right away. And every day I didn't felt like I was lying to her memory. He looked at me finally. And because you're my friend, that matters more than blood. I set the folder on the workbench. My hands were shaking again. What's he do, Brad? Financial consultant. Helps people with investments, retirement planning. Vernon's jaw tightened. My sister thinks he walks on water, always has. But Beth never trusted him, said he had cold eyes. He helped Diane refinance our house. Vernon closed his eyes. Jesus, Frank. $180,000 gone. That's... He stopped, started again. That's fraud. That's jail time. If I can prove it. You can't prove it? I thought about the signatures. Too perfect. The missing stamps. The bank statements hidden in her car. Maybe... I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Vernon picked up his beer, drank it down. Set the empty bottle carefully on the workbench. Linda Marks, he said. Who? Lawyer. Handled Beth's estate. She's good. Smart. Doesn't mess around. He pulled out his phone. Old flip phone. Numbers worn off half the buttons. Want me to call her? I looked at the photos. My wife. Vernon's nephew. 8 months of lies spread across 6 pieces of paper. Yeah, I said. Call her. Vernon made the call right there, speakerphone. Linda Marks had a voice like gravel, rough but solid. Vernon, good to hear from you. How you holding up? Getting by. Listen, Linda, my neighbor needs help. Legal trouble. What kind? Vernon looked at me. I took a breath. My wife forged my signature, refinanced our house without telling me, took out $180,000. Silence on the other end. Then, you got proof? Bank statements, signatures that don't match, missing signature stamps. Where's the money? Joint account with her boyfriend. Financial consultant named Bradford Kemper. Another pause. Brad Kemper. Slick guy, late 30s, drives a BMW. You know him? Heard of him. State Financial Board had complaints. Nothing stuck, but where there's smoke. Papers rustling on her end. I can meet tomorrow, 9 o'clock. My office is on Main Street, above the barber shop. I'll be there. Bring everything. Statements, photos, anything you got. We'll figure this out. She hung up. Vernon put away his phone. She's a bulldog, he said. Diane won't know what hit her. I picked up the manila folder again. Looked at the photos. My wife smiling at another man. My house signed away with forged signatures. My life unraveling one statement at a time. Vern, I said, why'd you keep watching? After you knew? He was quiet for a long moment. The space heater ticked. The radio played Hank Williams. Because someone needed to see the truth, he said finally. Even if it hurt. Especially if it hurt. He picked up both empty bottles, walked to the door, stopped. Frank, Beth used to say something. The truth will set you free, but first it'll make you miserable. Think she was right. The door closed behind him. I was alone with the photos in the half-fixed truck and the cold garage air. Outside, the sun was setting. Inside, my phone buzzed. Text message, unknown number. Dad, it's Rachel. We need to talk. I stared at the phone. Rachel, my daughter. Hadn't heard from her in, 6 months? Maybe longer. The last time we talked, she'd called on my birthday. March 15th. Conversation lasted maybe 5 minutes. Happy birthday, Dad. Sorry, I've got to run. Big project at work. Before that? Christmas. She'd sent a card. Store-bought. No note, just her signature. I stepped outside to take the call. Needed privacy, even though Vernon was already back in his house. Rachel? Dad. Her voice sounded strained. Tired. I know it's late. I'm sorry. It's okay. Everything all right? Silence. Long enough I thought she'd hung up. Dad, I saw Mom's Facebook. My stomach dropped. What did she post? She didn't post directly about you, but there's stuff, comments to her friends, about finally living for herself, and dead weight, and past his expiration date. Rachel's voice cracked. Dad, is it true? Are you guys getting divorced? I leaned against the garage wall, cold brick through my coat. Yeah, sweetheart, looks that way. Why didn't you call me? Didn't want to burden you. You got your life in Portland, your job. You're my father. She was crying now. I could hear it. You're not a burden. I closed my eyes, tried to find words. Rachel, there's more. Things your mom did. Things I'm just finding out about. Like what? So I told her. Not everything. Didn't mention Brad yet. Didn't mention the photos. But I told her about the refinancing, the forged signatures. The money gone. She was quiet when I finished, just breathing on the other end. Dad, she said finally, she told me things about you. For years. What kind of things? That you were controlling, that you didn't want me to go to college. Said you thought it was a waste for girls. Her voice got smaller. That you were the reason I left. The words hit like punches, each one landing somewhere soft. Rachel, that's not… I know. She cut me off. I mean, I'm starting to know. The posts she's making, the way she's talking about you, it doesn't match what she told me. A pause. Dad, did you want me to go to college? More than anything. Then why? I saved for 12 years. Had a college fund. $17,000. I swallowed hard. Your mom withdrew it when you were 17. Told me you wanted to marry that boyfriend instead. What was his name? Tyler? Tyler Marsh. We broke up junior year. Rachel's voice was shaking. She told me you took the money, said you were punishing me for dating him. We sat in silence, the weight of 15 years of lies pressing down through the phone line. I'm so sorry, Dad. You were a kid. She's your mother. I'm not a kid anymore. Her voice got stronger. And I can see who she really is. Rachel. I'm in Portland now. I can be there Friday. Would you want me there? I looked at Vernon's house, light in his kitchen window, looked at my own house, Diane's car in the driveway, the home I'd worked for being taken piece by piece. Yeah, sweetheart, I'd want that very much. Okay. She took a shaky breath. Dad, one more thing. I'm a software engineer. If Mom's been doing shady stuff digitally, I can find it. Old phones, cloud backups, deleted messages, it's all recoverable. Something shifted in my chest. Not hope exactly, but something close. She left her old iPhone in her dresser drawer, got a new one last month. Don't touch it. I'll need it exactly as it is. I could hear typing. I'm looking at flights now. I can be there Friday afternoon. Can you pick me up at the airport? Cleveland? Yeah, lands at 3. I'll be there. We hung up. I stood in the dark driveway, stars coming out overhead, cold air biting my face. My daughter was coming home. The next 3 days moved like molasses. Monday morning, I met Linda Marks at her office. Second floor above Sammy's barbershop, narrow stairs that creaked. Her office smelled like old paper and strong coffee. Linda was maybe 55. Gray hair cut short, reading glasses on a chain. She looked at me over those glasses like she could see through bullshit at 50 paces. Show me what you got. I spread everything on her desk. Bank statements, photos from Vernon, the timeline I'd made. She went through it methodically, didn't say a word for 10 minutes. Finally, this is prosecutable. Fraud, forgery, conspiracy to commit theft. She looked up. Brad Kemper's going to jail. What about Diane? Depends. She could claim he manipulated her, play the victim. Linda tapped the statements. But these signatures, she practiced. That shows intent. How long does this take? Court, I mean. 6 months, maybe longer. And Frank? She leaned back in her chair. She can hide assets in that time. Brad can run. The money could disappear into accounts you'll never find. So what do I do? She studied me. Quiet assessment. In a small town like this, court of public opinion moves faster than court of law. She took off her glasses. Where does Diane get her power? I don't know. Her friends, I guess. Book club. Church ladies. Church. Linda nodded. When's the next potluck? Sunday, after service. How many people? 150, whole congregation. She stood, went to her window, looked down at Main Street. You could file charges. Go through proper channels, do everything right. She turned back. Or you could tell the truth in front of everyone who knows you both. Let them decide who to believe. That feels like revenge? She shook her head. Frank, she humiliated you publicly to break your spirit. This isn't revenge. This is standing up. I thought about the Blackstone Inn, the bracelet, her voice carrying across the restaurant. If I do this, I need to do it right. Then stick to facts. Show evidence. Don't attack her character. Let the evidence speak. She sat back down, made notes. I'll coach you. We'll prepare what you'll say. Make sure you're protected legally. What if it backfires? What if people think I'm being vindictive? Linda looked at me over her glasses again. Frank, how long you lived in this town? 40 years. You got a reputation? I hope so. Tried to do right by people. Then trust that. She pulled out a legal pad. Now, let's figure out exactly what you're going to say. Tuesday passed. Wednesday. I barely saw Diane. She came home late, left early, slept in the guest room. We moved around each other like strangers. Vernon came by every evening, brought dinner, casseroles, sandwiches, leftover pizza, sat with me in the garage while I pretended to work on projects. Thursday night, he brought chess. We played on the workbench, pieces sliding on the metal surface. You nervous about tomorrow? He asked. Moved his bishop. Yeah. Rachel's going to be there? She lands at 3. I'll pick her up, bring her home. Then we'll figure out Sunday. He captured my night. I hadn't even seen it coming. Brad knows something's up, Vernon said. My sister called. Said he's been acting strange. Jumpy. You think he'll run? Maybe. He studied the board, but running just proves guilt. I moved my rook. Your sister mad at you? Furious. Says I betrayed family. He knocked over my rook with his queen. Checkmate. I looked at the board. Hadn't even seen it coming. Beth would be proud of you, I said. His eyes got wet. He cleared his throat. She'd probably say I waited too long. But you did it. That's what matters. He packed up the chess pieces, put them in the worn wooden box he'd made 40 years ago. Beth had painted the top, little flowers, faded now. Frank, whatever happens Sunday, I got your back. I know you do. He left. I sat in the garage until midnight. Couldn't go inside. The house felt like enemy territory. Friday afternoon, I left for Cleveland at noon. Gave myself extra time. Roads were clear. February thaw had started, snow melting in the ditches. The airport was chaos. People everywhere. I found Rachel's gate, waited by the windows, watching planes land. She came through the doors at 3:15. I almost didn't recognize her. Last time I'd seen her in person, she was 22. Fresh out of college, heading to Portland for a job. Now she was 37. Her hair was shorter, lines around her eyes. She looked like her grandmother, my mother, more than she looked like Diane. Dad. She dropped her suitcase, hugged me hard. I held my daughter. First time in 15 years. She pulled back, wiped her eyes. You look good, she said. You're a terrible liar. She laughed, picked up her suitcase. Let's go home. The drive back, she asked questions. I answered honestly, told her about Brad, about the BMW, about Vernon's photos and Linda's plan for Sunday. You're really going to do it, in front of everyone? Your mom humiliated me at that restaurant, made sure her friends heard, made sure I knew I wasn't good enough. I gripped the steering wheel. I'm not doing this to hurt her, Rachel. I'm doing it so everyone knows the truth. She nodded. I brought my laptop. If you've got Mom's old phone, I can pull everything tonight. Tonight? Yeah, it'll take a few hours, but I've got software that can recover deleted texts, emails, everything. She looked out the window. Dad, if she planned this, if there's proof she and Brad coordinated, that changes everything. We pulled into the driveway at 5:30. Diane's car was gone. Inside, the house felt different with Rachel there, smaller, somehow. She went upstairs, came back down with the iPhone. Mom never wiped it? Don't think she knows how. Rachel sat at the kitchen table, plugged the phone into her laptop. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, code scrolling on the screen. I made coffee, strong. The way Rachel used to like it when she was 16, staying up late studying for tests. Vernon knocked, came in without waiting for an answer. This must be Rachel. He shook her hand. Your dad's told me about you. All good things, I hope. Only good things in your dad. Vernon looked at me. Diane's car just pulled into Brad's condo. Saw it when I drove past. Rachel's laptop beeped. Dad, you need to see this. We gathered around the table. The screen showed text messages, thousands of them. A thread between Diane and Brad going back 10 months. Rachel scrolled to one from 4 months ago. Diane, anniversary dinner is perfect timing. I'll humiliate him publicly. File the next week. He'll be too broken to fight. Brad, beautiful. Make sure her friends see it. Witnesses help if he contests anything. Diane, he won't fight. Frank never fights. He just takes it. Brad, that's what makes this easy. I stared at the screen. The words blurred, came back into focus. Rachel kept scrolling, found another. Brad, how much do you think we can get from the refinance? Diane, 200K easy. House is paid off. His credit is perfect. He'll never check the statements. Brad, you're brilliant. We'll be in Cancun by April. Vernon leaned against the counter, put his hand over his mouth. Rachel looked up at me, tears on her face. Dad, she planned everything. The dinner, the humiliation, all of it. I pulled out a chair, sat down heavy. It's one thing to suspect, another thing to know, and something else entirely to see it written out in her own words. Can you print those? My voice came out steady, surprised me. Already on it. Rachel's printer whirred, pages sliding out, evidence in black and white. Vernon picked up one page, read it, set it down carefully. That's my nephew, he said quietly. That's my blood helping destroy a good man's life for money. The printer kept going, page after page, 10 months of planning, of lies, of casual cruelty spelled out in text messages. When it stopped, Rachel had 47 pages. There's more, she said. Emails too, bank account logins. Photos they sent each other. She looked at me. Dad, this is everything. Everything you need. I picked up the stack. It felt heavy. Or maybe I felt heavy. Linda needs to see this tonight, I said. Vernon already had his phone out. I'll call her. Rachel gathered the pages, put them in a folder. Her hands were shaking. Mom did this, she said. She actually planned to destroy you. I looked at my daughter, saw her trying to process, trying to reconcile the mother she knew with the woman in those messages. Yeah, I said. She did. Outside, the sun was setting. Friday night. Sunday was 2 days away. 2 days until I stood in front of everyone I'd known for 40 years and told them the truth. Linda Marks arrived at 8. Spread the messages across the dining room table. Read every one. Finally, Frank, this changes everything. She looked at me. With this evidence, we don't need a trial. This is confession in writing. Conspiracy to commit fraud. They're both going to jail. Both? Brad definitely. Diane probably, unless she cooperates against him. Linda gathered the pages. But Frank? Sunday? You still want to do the church thing? I thought about it. Could just file charges. Let the law handle it. Stay quiet. Stay small. Like I'd always done. Yeah, I said. I still want to do it. Linda nodded. Then let's make sure we do it right. Saturday morning hit me like a hammer. I woke up at 4, couldn't get back to sleep, lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to Rachel's breathing in the guest room down the hall. Diane hadn't come home. By 5, I gave up, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table in the dark. Tomorrow, I'd stand in front of everyone. My hands shook holding the mug. Rachel found me there at 6, still in the dark, coffee gone cold. Dad? Couldn't sleep. She flipped on the light. I squinted against it. You're having second thoughts. Not a question. She knew. What if I'm wrong? I said. What if this makes me look vindictive? What if people think I'm the bad guy? Rachel sat across from me, still in her pajamas, old blazer shirt, sweatpants. Dad, you spent 40 years building a reputation in this town. One speech isn't going to erase that. Your mom has friends, people who'll defend her. And you have the truth. She reached across, took my hand. That's got to count for something. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. I need to get out of here, I said. Go somewhere. Clear my head. I drove to the diner, 6:30 on a Saturday morning, handful of regulars, farmers, early shift workers, guy I recognized from the factory 30 years ago. Connie was working. She saw me come in. Her smile faltered. Morning, Frank. Coffee? Please. She poured, set down the pot, moved to the next table faster than usual. I sat at the counter, alone, even though the place was half full. Heard whispers behind me. Tried not to listen, failed. Heard his wife left him. Saw her with some young guy. Poor bastard probably never saw it coming. I gripped my coffee mug, stared at my reflection in the dark liquid. This is what it would be like if I did nothing. Whispers. Pity. Being the guy whose wife left him. Or I could stand up tomorrow, tell the truth, risk everything. The bell over the door rang. Vernon walked in. Saw me. Came straight over. Thought I might find you here. Couldn't stay in that house. He ordered coffee. We sat in silence. The whispers continued behind us. Vernon leaned close. Frank, listen to me. Tomorrow, you're not asking for their permission. You're telling them what happened. There's a difference. What if they don't believe me? Then they're not worth believing in. He sipped his coffee. But they will. You know why? Why? Because you're Frank Holloway. And in 40 years, you've never lied to anybody. The weight in my chest eased just a little. Connie came back, refilled our cups. This time, she met my eyes. Whatever's going on, Frank, we're pulling for you. She walked away before I could respond. Maybe Vernon was right. Maybe 40 years of being honest was enough. I just had to trust it. Saturday afternoon, Linda came back to the house. Brought her briefcase, her legal pads, that no-nonsense expression that meant business. We need to practice, she said. What you'll say, how you'll say it. Rachel set up in the living room, her laptop connected to a portable speaker, the same setup we'd use tomorrow. The evidence folder sat on the coffee table. 47 pages of text messages, photos from Vernon, bank statements. Keep it simple, Linda said. State the facts, show the evidence, don't editorialize. Meaning? Meaning don't call her names, don't say she's evil or cruel or any of that. Just present what happened. Let them draw their own conclusions. I nodded. Felt like I was back in school, preparing for a test I couldn't afford to fail. Start with the discovery, Linda said. Walk them through it chronologically. I cleared my throat. 6 months ago, someone refinanced our house without my knowledge. Good. Next. $180,000 was withdrawn. Slow down. You're rushing. Linda made a note. Remember, you're not on trial. They are. You've got nothing to be nervous about. Easy for her to say. We practiced for 2 hours. My statement, the evidence presentation, the 30-second audio clip Rachel had isolated, the worst of Diane and Brad's planning. By 4 o'clock, my voice was hoarse. That's enough, Linda said. You've got it down. Now you just need to trust yourself. After she left, I sat on the porch. Cold February evening turning to dusk. Vernon's light came on next door. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Frank Holloway? Woman's voice. Professional. Speaking. This is Deborah Chen, your wife's attorney. My stomach tightened. What do you want? I'm calling as a courtesy. Mrs. Holloway has filed a restraining order against you. Alleges verbal abuse and threatening behavior. You'll be served papers tomorrow, but I wanted to give you advance notice. That's a lie. Nevertheless, the order requires you to vacate the marital home immediately and maintain a distance of 500 feet from Mrs. Holloway. I haven't threatened anyone. The court will make that determination. But until then, I suggest you find somewhere else to stay. A pause. Also, Mrs. Holloway is prepared to testify about your controlling behavior, the financial monitoring, the isolation tactics. I almost laughed. Would've, if it wasn't so twisted. Is that all? One more thing. If you attempt to embarrass Mrs. Holloway publicly in any way, at church for instance, she'll pursue defamation charges. Are we clear? Crystal. She hung up. I sat there, phone in my hand. Restraining order. Defamation threat. She was circling the wagons, protecting herself before I could expose her. Rachel opened the door. Who was that? Your mother's lawyer. I told her about the restraining order. The threats. Her face went red. She can't do that. You haven't done anything. Doesn't matter. She's got a lawyer making threats, trying to scare me off. Are you? Scared off? I looked at my house, the porch I'd rebuilt 5 years ago, the swing I'd hung, the windows I'd replaced. 40 years of work, of building, of trying to make something solid. No, I said. I'm not scared, Rachel smiled. Good, because I called Pastor Jim this afternoon. Told him you had something important to share tomorrow during announcements. You what? I figured if Mom's lawyer is threatening you, she knows you're planning something, so let's make it official. She sat down beside me. Pastor Jim said, okay, you've got 5 minutes after the church business. 5 minutes to tell 40 years of truth. Your mom's going to be there, I said. I know. She's going to fight back. Make a scene. Let her. Rachel squeezed my hand. Dad, you've been taking it for years. Tomorrow, you get to speak. Inside, my phone buzzed again. Text message. Diane. Don't do this, Frank. You'll regret it. I showed Rachel. She took my phone, typed back. This is Rachel. He's not scared of you anymore. Hit send. We sat on the porch as the sun set. Tomorrow was coming whether I was ready or not. Sunday morning arrived too fast. I woke at 5, dressed in the dark, not my good suit, the one I'd worn to that anniversary dinner. That felt wrong. Like trying to be someone I wasn't. Instead, flannel shirt, clean jeans, work boots. If I was going to do this, I'd do it as myself. Rachel was already up. Coffee made. She looked nervous. You ready? She asked. No. Good. That means you're taking it seriously. Vernon knocked at 7. Came in without waiting. Brought this. He held up a small digital recorder. Backup, in case your phone doesn't work. We loaded the truck. Rachel's laptop, the portable speaker, the evidence folder, everything organized, labeled, ready. The drive to church felt like driving to a execution. Mine, maybe. First Presbyterian sat on the corner of Main and Oak. White clapboard, tall steeple, parking lot already filling up. I pulled in at 9:30. Service started at 10. "You want to go in?" Rachel asked. "Not yet." We sat in the truck, watched people arrive, families, couples, older folks I'd known for decades. Through the windshield, I saw Marge pull in. Ellen right behind her. Then Diane's car. She parked far from us, got out wearing a navy dress, hair perfect, makeup perfect. She looked toward our truck. I couldn't read her expression from this distance. She walked inside without looking back. "That's her," Rachel said quietly. "That's the woman who raised me." "Yeah. I don't know her at all, do I?" I took Rachel's hand. "You know the parts she wanted you to see. That's all any of us knew." Vernon's truck pulled in. He parked next to us, got out, walked over. "Linda's inside. Saved us seats." He looked at me. "How you holding up? Ask me in an hour." We walked to the church. The steps I'd climbed 1,000 times felt steeper today. Inside, the sanctuary smelled like old hymnals and lemon polish. Familiar, comforting. People turned when we entered. Some smiled, some looked away. Linda sat 3 rows back. Left side. She'd saved 4 seats. Pastor Jim was at the pulpit, saw me, nodded. His face was kind but serious. He knew something was coming. The service started. We sang hymns I'd known since childhood. Amazing Grace. How Great Thou Art. The words felt hollow in my mouth. During the sermon, I didn't hear a word, just sat there, heart hammering, going over my statement in my head. 6 months ago, someone refinanced our house. My mouth was dry. Rachel passed me a mint. I took it, grateful. The sermon ended. Offering plates passed. The choir sang. Then Pastor Jim stepped to the microphone. "Before we head to Fellowship Hall, Frank Holloway has asked to make an announcement." Every eye turned to me. I stood, legs shaking, walked to the front. The microphone felt heavy in my hand. I looked out at the congregation, saw faces I'd known 40 years, saw Diane, 6 rows back, staring at me with pure hatred, saw Rachel and Vernon, saw Linda with her legal pad ready, saw Ellen looking guilty, saw Marge, arms crossed, saw the life I'd built, the community I'd served, the people who knew me. My voice came out steady, surprised me. "I appreciate you letting me speak." I cleared my throat. "Some of you have noticed Diane and I are having troubles." Murmurs through the crowd. "I want to set the record straight." Diane shifted in her seat, started to stand. Pastor Jim's hand on her shoulder, gentle but firm. She sat back down. I continued. "6 months ago, I discovered something, and you all deserve to know the truth." Rachel cued the tablet, the portable speaker, everything I'd prepared, everything I'd practiced, here, in front of God and everyone. Time to speak. "6 months ago," I said, "someone refinanced our house without my knowledge." I clicked the tablet Rachel held up. Bank statement appeared on the screen, large enough for the front rows to see. $180,000 was withdrawn over 8 months. My signature was forged using stamps taken from our home safe. Gasps rippled through the pews. Diane's face went white, then red. "This is ridiculous," she started. Pastor Jim raised his hand. "Diane, please, let him finish." I showed the next image. Photo of Diane and Brad outside a hotel. Vernon's surveillance shot, timestamp clear. "This is Bradford Kemper, financial consultant, Vernon McAllister's nephew." I looked at Vernon. He stood, solid beside Linda. Public acknowledgement. He helped execute the refinancing. The money went into a joint account in both their names. Diane stood fully now. "You can't prove any of this. This is slander." "It's not slander if it's true." I kept my voice level, calm, like Linda coached. "And I can prove it." I nodded to Rachel. She clicked play on the audio file. The church speakers crackled. Then Diane's voice, crystal clear. Anniversary dinner is perfect timing. I'll humiliate him publicly. File the next week. He'll be too broken to fight. Brad's voice. Beautiful. Make sure her friends see it. Witnesses help if he contests anything. Diane. He won't fight. Frank never fights. He just takes it. Brad. That's what makes this easy. 30 seconds. That's all it took. The silence after was deafening. Diane's mouth opened, closed. No words came out. Marge stared at her. Ellen covered her mouth with both hands. I kept going. Had to finish now. I'm not telling you this to hurt her. I'm telling you because for 40 years, I've tried to be honest with this community. With all of you. My voice cracked. I steadied it. And I couldn't let lies stand without speaking truth. Diane found her voice. That recording is illegal. You can't. Ohio is a one-party consent state, Linda said from her seat. The recording is perfectly legal. This is a setup. Diane looked around wildly, at Marge, at Ellen, at anyone who might support her. He's trying to destroy me because I want a divorce. I don't want to destroy you, I said quietly. I just want people to know what happened. Pastor Jim stepped forward. Diane, I think you should sit down. No. Her voice rose, shrill. You're all believing him without question. What about my side? Then tell us your side. Pastor Jim's voice was gentle but firm. Did you refinance Frank's house without his knowledge? She looked at him, at the congregation, at me. Our house, she said. It's our house. Community property. Did you forge his signature? Silence. Did you plan the anniversary dinner to humiliate him publicly? Her hands were shaking. He deserved it. 40 years of mediocrity, of settling. I deserved better. The words hung in the air. Ellen stood, her voice quiet but clear. Diane, you told us Frank was controlling, that he monitored your spending. Isolated you from friends. He did. You told me he took Rachel's college fund to punish her. Ellen's voice got stronger. Was that true? Diane looked at Rachel. My daughter stood, faced her mother. You told me Dad was cold, Rachel said, that he drove me away, that he didn't want me to go to college. Rachel, honey. Stop. Rachel's voice cracked. Just stop lying. I saw the bank statements. Dad saved $17,000 for my college. You withdrew it. I needed. You stole from him. From me. From us. Tears ran down Rachel's face. You stole 15 years I could have had with my father because you lied about who he was. Diane reached toward her. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Rachel stepped back. You're a thief and a liar, and I'm ashamed to be your daughter. The words landed like physical blows. Diane stumbled back into her pew. Marge gathered her purse, stood, walked out without looking at anyone. The door closing behind her echoed through the sanctuary, but others stayed, watching, waiting. Pastor Jim turned to the congregation. This is painful for everyone, but Frank has shown courage here. Truth is always right, even when it hurts to hear it. People started standing, not to leave, to approach. The hardware store owner came first, shook my hand. Should have stopped by when you needed help. I'm sorry, Frank. Connie from the diner. Saw you were hurting. Didn't know how to help. I'm sorry. One by one, people I'd known for decades, apologizing, supporting, believing. Ellen approached Diane, who was still sitting, staring at nothing. I'm sorry, Ellen said to her. But I can't be your friend anymore. Not after this. She walked to me instead. Frank, I owe you an apology, a real one. She was my friend, and I believed her without question. That was wrong. You didn't know, I said. I should have asked you directly. Should have trusted what I knew about you. Her eyes were wet. Can you forgive me? Nothing to forgive, Ellen. She hugged me. Quick, awkward. Then joined the line of people waiting to speak to me. Vernon's phone rang. He stepped outside to take it. Came back in, face grim. That was my sister, he said quietly. Brad's gone. Cleaned out the joint account this morning. Took everything, about 140,000. Diane's head snapped up. What? Your boyfriend ran, Vernon said. Not cruel, just factual. Took the money and disappeared. No, Diane stood, pulled out her phone, dialed, it rang and rang, voicemail. She tried again, same result. He wouldn't, we were going to, her voice broke. The reality hit her all at once. The money gone, Brad gone, her reputation in tatters. Everything she'd schemed for, vanished. She looked at me. Frank, don't. I shook my head. I'm done, Diane. She grabbed her purse, pushed through the crowd toward the exit. People parted for her like she was contagious. The door slammed. Her car engine started. Tires squealed. Pastor Jim watched her go, turned back to the congregation. Let's pray, he said. For everyone involved, for healing, for truth and grace. We bowed our heads. His prayer washed over me. I didn't hear most of it, just felt the weight lifting. Finally, after, we moved to the fellowship hall. The potluck continued, life moving forward even after everything. People brought me plates, sat with me, shared their own stories of betrayal, of standing up, of finding strength. Vernon sat on one side, Rachel on the other, Linda across the table, eating potato salad and looking satisfied. What happens now? I asked Linda. I file the fraud charges tomorrow. Police will issue a warrant for Brad, FBI too, since he crossed state lines with stolen funds. She sipped her coffee. Diane will probably cooperate. Testify against him to reduce her own charges. Will she go to jail? Maybe. Depends on the prosecutor and what kind of deal she makes. Linda set down her cup. Frank, you know this isn't over, right? There's still the divorce, asset division, legal proceedings. I know. But the hard part? She smiled. That's done. You stood up. You told the truth. The rest is just paperwork. Ellen approached our table, hesitant. Frank, can I sit? Of course. She sat, twisted her napkin in her hands. I need you to know something. At that anniversary dinner, when Diane said those things, I saw your face. I knew it hurt you, but I didn't say anything. I just sat there. Ellen, no, let me finish. She looked up. I've been thinking about it ever since. About how many times I chose loyalty to her over doing what was right. How many times I stayed silent when I should have spoken up. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. You deserved better from me. From all of us. I reached across the table, took her hand. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. She squeezed my hand. If you need anything, groceries, a ride, someone to talk to, you call me, okay? Okay. She stood, patted my shoulder, walked away wiping her eyes. Rachel leaned against me. You did good, Dad. I looked around the fellowship hall, at faces I'd known for decades, at the community that had rallied around me, at my daughter beside me and my friend across the table. Yeah, I said. I think I did. Outside the windows, the afternoon sun was warm. February thaw in full swing, snow melting, spring coming. Everything changing, everything new. 3 months passed like water finding its level, slow, steady, finding where it needed to be. Late May. I sat in Linda's office, signing the final papers. Rachel beside me. Vernon in the chair by the window. House is yours, Linda said. Refinancing voided due to fraud. Title's clean. She slid another document across. Restraining orders in place. Diane can't come within 500 feet. Where is she? Tampa, living with her sister, working retail at some outlet mall. Linda's voice was matter of fact. She's cooperating with prosecutors. Testimony against Brad in exchange for probation instead of jail time. And Brad? Arrested in Nevada trying to cross into Mexico. Federal charges, wire fraud, forgery, theft. He's looking at 15 to 20 years. She tapped her pen on the desk. You'll recover about 100,000 after legal fees and what he spent. Not everything, but something. I signed the last page. My signature, the real one, not forged, felt solid. Final. How do you feel? Linda asked. Like I can breathe again. Outside, spring had arrived fully. Trees leafed out, grass green, the world alive again after winter. We drove home. Rachel at the wheel. She'd been staying with me, working remote from my den. Talking about maybe moving back permanently. You really considering it? I asked. Leaving Portland? Yeah. My company doesn't care where I work as long as I get it done. She glanced at me. Besides, Portland's expensive. And I missed seasons. Missed you. I'd like that. Having you here. She smiled. Pulled into our driveway. Our driveway. Our house. Mine and Rachel's now. The kitchen was different. We'd repainted. Yellow walls, warm and cheerful. New curtains Rachel had picked out. The table where Diane had served me divorce papers now held Rachel's laptop and my woodworking magazines. Vernon knocked, walked in carrying a casserole dish. Tuesday, he said. Chess night. Thought I'd bring dinner too. This had become our routine. Tuesday evenings, chess and beer and easy conversation. Sometimes Rachel joined us. Sometimes she gave us space. Tonight she stayed, set the table while Vernon and I set up the board. Ellen stopped by the hardware store today, Vernon said. Asked if you needed help with anything. She's called 3 times this week already. She's trying to make amends. He moved his pawn. Can't fault her for that. I don't. Just don't need as much help as people think. Rachel brought plates. Vernon's tuna casserole, heavy on the potato chips. Exactly how his Beth used to make it. We ate. Played chess. Vernon won. He usually did. I didn't mind. It was the sitting together that mattered. After he left, Rachel and I cleaned up. She washed. I dried. Old rhythm from when she was young. Dad? She handed me a plate. I've been thinking. About? About what Mom said. At the church. That you were mediocre. I set down the plate. Rachel. She was wrong. Rachel turned off the water. Faced me. You worked 40 years to build something solid. You raised me, or tried to until she pushed me away. You were honest and steady and kind. Her voice cracked. That's not mediocre. That's everything. I pulled her into a hug. My daughter. Home again after 15 years lost. I love you, sweetheart. Love you too, Dad. Evening settled in. Rachel went upstairs to video call her kids, my grandchildren I was finally getting to know through a screen. I sat on the porch, the swing newly oiled, painted last week. It creaked gently as I rocked. Vernon's porch light came on. He stepped out with his evening beer, raised it in salute. I raised my coffee cup back. The robin's nest under the eave was full of babies. I could hear them chirping. Mama bird flew in with a worm, flew out again. Life cycling on. Church bells rang 6 o'clock. Same bells that rang at my wedding 32 years ago. Same bells that rang when Rachel was baptized. Same bells marking time while I rebuilt my life. I thought about Diane, somewhere in Florida, working retail, living small. Part of me felt bad for her. Part of me just felt tired. Tired of being angry, tired of hurting. Mostly, I just felt here, present, in this moment. Rachel's laugh drifted through the open window. Vernon's rocker creaked next door. Somewhere down the block, kids played basketball in a driveway. Normal sounds, regular life, the kind of life I'd worked 40 years to build. Not mediocre, not extraordinary, just enough. For the first time in months, that felt like plenty. I finished my coffee, stood, stretched, felt good in my bones. Time to go inside. Help Rachel make dinner. Live the life I'd fought to keep. The screen door creaked, familiar sound, welcome sound, and I walked into the light. 6 months. That's how long it took from that anniversary dinner to now. 6 months to lose everything. 6 months to fight for it back. 6 months to learn the difference between keeping the peace and keeping quiet. I spent 32 years thinking if I just stayed steady, worked hard, didn't make waves, everything would be okay. Thought love meant absorbing the hits, taking the insults, smiling through the pain. Turns out that wasn't love. That was surrender, real love, The kind I'm building with Rachel now, the kind Vernon showed me by choosing truth over blood, that requires speaking up, standing firm, knowing when enough is enough. Some men my age, they'd say I wasted those years with Diane. But I don't see it that way. I learned what I'm made of. Learned I could lose everything and still stand. Learned that dignity can't be taken, only surrendered. And I stopped surrendering. Late spring evening, 6 months after that dinner. Rachel's inside making pot roast from her grandmother's recipe. Vernon's on his porch, rocker creaking in rhythm with mine. Robin singing her evening song. The church bells ring. Same bells from my wedding day, now marking a different kind of beginning. I think about younger men, my grandson's age, Rachel's husband, and what I'd tell them. It'd be simple. Your worth isn't measured by someone else's opinion. Not your wife's, not your boss's, not society's, just yours. And when you know the truth, when you've got it clear in your bones, speak it, even if your voice shakes, especially if your voice shakes. Because silence isn't strength, it's just silence. Rachel calls from the kitchen. Dad, dinner! I stand, feel the evening warmth on my face, smell cut grass and blooming lilacs and pot roast and possibility. For 32 years, I was good enough for everyone else. Took losing it all to figure out I just needed to be enough for myself. Turns out, once you do that, the right people find their way to your porch. The swing creaks, the evening settles. And for the first time in years, I'm not waiting for anything. I'm just here,